Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Trey Gowdy, and welcome to a special edition of Sunday Night in America. Education can transform your life and reset the expectations for all those who come after you. We know how important it is, and we know these are challenging times for teachers and parents, and especially students. We talk about education a lot on this show for many reasons. Someone once said democracy only works with an educated and moral citizenry. So let's take a look at some of our favorite segments.
Thank you for acknowledging. Yes, I'm a first-generation college graduate. Trey, my grandparents didn't graduate from high school, and my parents didn't have an opportunity to go to college. They had the brain power, but they didn't have the financial resources to do so. But they instilled in me and my three older siblings the importance of the value of an education. So between me and my three older siblings, we actually got 11 college degrees, and it changed our lives. It put us on a different path. So I got into higher education so I could give that same opportunity and hope to others.
Yeah, it was coaches at the playground that said that being good at sports wasn't just good enough. And when I stopped coaching, they told me I had a stop playing. They told me I had a responsibility to coach and help other young kids, which is why education, mentoring, and Little League are so important to me. And it just shows that when you fund programs like that, it can make the difference in the lives of young people, no matter what income they come from or what zip code.
You know, I was a terrible student. At one point in my life, I thought I was stupid. My teachers and classmates agreed. And then my mother made me start reading books. And I got to the point where I couldn't stand to be without a book. I became a bookworm. I knew everything. And it completely changed the trajectory of my life. And, you know, as someone who started out in the lowest rungs of society economically, to be able to ascend to the top 1%, you know, that was not an accident. That was because of a solid education. That wasn't somebody teaching me about what my gender was or what pronouns to use. It was about providing the appropriate type of education that allows you to function in our society.
Here to talk about education and how best to prepare our children are the co-founders of Enriched Literacy Education, Mary Cantwell and Brooke Ooten. Thank you both for joining us again. We'll start with the bad news and get that out of the way. Tell us what concerns you most about the state of education currently for our children, and then we'll go on to some solutions. So what concerns you both now?
All right, Congressman, thank you so much for having us on again and keeping education in the forefront for your viewers and for all Americans. It is so important. Most concerning, as we've spoken about, and we started chatting about this with you last year at this time, the nation's report card has come out, and we have historic dips in math and reading scores for our fourth graders and our eighth graders all over the country. Anecdotally, in Detroit, which 1 in 2 children do live in poverty in Detroit, only 6% of fourth graders were proficient in math in 2019. That number fell to 3% post-pandemic. So we are in trouble, and we need to really get smart about remediating math and reading issues. We have some parts of our country where children are not literate enough to be able to fill out a basic job application by the time they get older. What's on a basic job application? Name, address, date of birth? This is troubling.
All right, give us some good news. I'm not known for good news, but I think everybody needs some good news. We know that we're in a tough spot. There's COVID funding. There was a lot of money appropriated. I assume some of that's going to schools, but what can the schools and the teachers and the parents do to kind of get us out of this slough of despond we're in?
Absolutely. There is money out there for COVID learning loss remediation. So let's have more instructional time. Can we have pull-out groups in school? Can we start hiring staff to pull out small groups of children that really need support in certain areas and work with them in a smaller setting. That's been shown to have proven results in increasing skill retention. Offering summer school, offering after-school programming, offering high-impact tutoring after school. These are all things that those COVID funds can be used to support. And these are questions that parents just need to ask their teachers and ask their district leaders. These are things like, where's this money going? What kind of supports are in place that we can take advantage of? My child needs some extra support. You know, what programs can you offer? What staff do you have on hand? Have you hired extra staff to meet this need? As a parent, you really need to be active. You need to be proactive with your district, because there are a lot of measures in place legally for your children, should they need extra support, for them to receive it. You just have to be aware and educated as to the options out there.
All right, you hinted at parent-teacher conferences, which brings back so many terrible memories for my parents. So I hope they're not watching. But for those parents who did not have discipline problem children and they're going to parent-teacher conferences, what are some specific questions to ask? What can parents ask their teachers?
So, Trey, it is so important to find out whether or not your child is performing on grade level. If they are not performing on grade level, that means they're in the lowest 50th percentile for that subject. This is a big problem. They are not getting the skills they need to be able to be successful in the next grade. So parents really need to listen to what their teachers are saying. If they are telling you your child is not performing on grade level, it is time to get help right away. If they are telling you that your child is not retaining information and not scaffolding or building upon what they previously learned, it might be time to get an educational evaluation, just to figure out how their child learns best. As Brooke said, now more than ever, parents have to be really smart. There are educational advocates out there, Trey, who their work is solely to help families get the services their child is entitled to. Your viewers can email us, Brooke@enrichednyc.com, Mary@enrichednyc.com. We are happy to help them. There are people out there to help parents.
All right, Brooke, I'm going to ask you one quick question. Teacher shortage.
Absolutely.
If you could advise legislators or other funders how to address the teacher shortage, number one, is it real, and how do we fix it?
There is absolutely a teacher shortage. After the COVID pandemic, teachers just realized the demands being asked of them were unrealistic. We set teachers up for failure essentially during the pandemic by putting a task in front of them that had never been done before and asking them to do it and turn, a curriculum from a live, classroom situation to virtual in mere days, something that was very, very difficult. So we do have teachers leaving the profession. What can you do? We can increase teacher salaries. We can reduce class sizes. Many classrooms are overcrowded. Teachers cannot simply make gains if there's one teacher and there's 35 students in a class. I say that not just from statistics, but having been a public school teacher myself and being in a class with 35 students, 5 classes a day, 180 students walking through my door every single day. That is just not realistic to meet the needs of every student individually. So in terms of enticing teachers back to the profession, grant them respect. Acknowledge that they're not superheroes and what's realistic about what they can accomplish, reduce classroom sizes, hire more staff.
Mary and Brooke, y'all are so great to come on and share your expertise with us. It is a very important issue to me because I sit there and think if I'd done better in school, I wouldn't have had to wind up in Congress, and my whole life would have been better. So I wished I'd had y'all to talk to back before you were born. But thank you for talking to us now, and we'll look forward to the next time.
Thank you so much, Trey.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.